Hi, my name is Hanjie. I'm a jazz pianist, composer, and arranger. Inner voice is a technique that has been overlooked by many people, including myself. So I want to research on this topic and to enhance the richness and diversity of my playing. So, what is the inner voice? Before that, we should know what is voice leading. Voice leading is moving voicings from different chords by step motions to create a smooth sound of harmony movement. Generally speaking, inner voice refers to the voicing that moves independently inside the highest and lowest voice of a good voice-led chord. Bach is one of the masters who uses voice leading in a tremendous level. Especially his chorale still serves as a model for modern musicians to study inner voice. When jazz music started in the late 20th century, jazz pianists started to use their inner voices differently according to their own style. Compared to Western classical music, the way jazz pianists use the inner voice is more out of the box and innovative. Bud Powell, Bill Evans, Keith Jarrett, Fred Hurch, and Brad Mehldau are five outstanding pianists that have a unique way of using the inner voice in their performance. Thus, I choose to do my research based on these five pianists' music. The method of my research is first data collecting, selecting, and classifying. Then by analyzing this data and setting experiment and implementing. This follows a plan, action, evaluation, and reflection circle. First, I reviewed over 100 transcriptions of these five jazz pianists and selected certain amount of representative transcriptions that has sufficient inner voice movement. Then I spent a lot of time going over these transcriptions and choosing which parts are most relevant and valuable. And finally, I picked 85 paragraphs as my research data. After enough data was collected, I start to analyze these paragraphs with inner voices in certain contexts like harmony, rhythm, and movement. These techniques involve the special use of dynamic, embellished notes, fingering, odd rhythm, and even pedal techniques. By analyzing this data, I really see the great talent and skill of these five pianists. By the end, I summarized 25 techniques that were used by Bud Powell, Bill Evans, Keith Jarrett, Fred Hurch, and Brad Mehldau. This becomes the guide and method lately for my own application of use the inner voice in my performance. I also took many lessons with some other jazz pianists, including David Bergman, Danny Grissett, Franz von Chelsea, Dado Moroni, and Stephen Carson, in order to hear different thoughts about how they use inner voice in their playing. Some of them have similar methods compared to Bud Powell, Bill Evans, Keith Jarrett, Fred Hurch, and Brad Mehldau. Some of them have different methods, which leads to me a different way of thinking.
Okay, and that's just thinking, uh, the C minor mode, C Dorian. and moving all the notes of the voicing in that fashion.
These notes are too far apart. I mean, it's just, but I try and create the illusion of legato. In the same way, I'm sort of trying to create the illusion. For me, it was always like, like a dream to be able to use the left hand in the same with the same power as the right hand. But like strict counterpoint is almost impossible. I mean, Bach was able to do this, but in a like improvising in a solo to obey all the rules of counterpoint is almost impossible. And
should be a sus chord.
The last step is I use the techniques from Bad Power, Bilvens, Kisteret, Redhurch, and Brad Mauder as the method to practice with certain chord progressions and tunes. Followed by plan, action, evaluation, and reflection cycle. I successfully applied some techniques to my own playing. Here are a few examples of how I integrated the techniques from the 5 pianists into my own playing. I keep practicing until I finally feel confident to use these techniques in my public performance. Here is one example of me use some of the inner voice techniques in one of the live performances. Hope you like it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. The 2 years study in Prince Claus Conservatory was really short. There are still some techniques and methods I could not figure out. But I will keep investigating and studying for the rest of my life.